And good evening to you on this most important day in the history of the BBC in Wales.
A West Wales solicitor is struck off by a judge. A court is told his bill to one client was £131,000 too much.
Corporal punishment, and with action in a European court pending against one Welsh education authority, today there's news of why the cane could be banned in dozens of schools in Wales.
And the soccer manager, who wisely perhaps is trying his hand at a new job. Good evening and welcome to Wales Today, now one of the main parts of 60 Minutes, and with a regular starting time of just before 5 to 6.
It's 5:35.
Working miners in South Wales fail in their bid to ban mass picketing, but there's to be a further court hearing later this month.
As more miners return to work, the NUM responds by withdrawing safety cover at a Gwent pit.
A grim outlook on unemployment, reaction to the government warning that only one youngster in 4 will find a job this year.
And the Welsh farmer who's turning his back on the dairy business to concentrate on the potential of deer.
Good evening. A High Court judge has refused to grant a group of working South Wales miners a temporary ban on mass picketing in the coalfield.
The end of an era as the last run of the coal comes to the surface. Arthur Scargill wants new action from the men who marched back to work. But at Mardy, the miners look to the future. Good evening.
Meningitis, 2 children are dead and 7 other cases are confirmed in Mid Glamorgan.
Official confirmation that anthrax tests were carried out at Plen Clouth.
And police issue warnings as they hunt a sex attacker.
Good evening. Mid Glamorgan Health Authority confirmed today that 2 children have died of meningitis at the Prince Charles Hospital in Merthyr Tydfil.
This is BBC One, Wales. Now here's Vincent Kane, Sarah Edwards and Peter Jackson with Wales Today.
Welsh electricians leader, saddened by expulsion, says it's in the members' interests.
Second North Wales policeman suspended in Anglesey incident. Investigation continues.
The postal dispute escalates. 4,000 workers are on strike. Good evening to you. The leader of the electricians in Wales, Wyn Bevan, in an exclusive interview for Wales Today,
Two Swansea Valley teenagers killed in horrific motorway crash.
2 prisoners on hunger strike in Cardiff prison over brutality allegations.
New innovation for the blind and South Wales Talking Magazine celebration. Good evening. The village of Ystalyfera in the Swansea Valley is mourning the death of 2 local soccer players who were killed last night.
New Age travellers plans for 2 big festivals in Wales this summer.
Scandal of junior doctor's hours, Welsh medics forced to break guidelines.
And Scott Gibbs, the Wales and Lions Centre, is charged with drink driving. Good evening. This is Wales Today.
Now, BBC Wales Today with Tim Rogers and Kevin Owen.
Motorists' anger at big increase in Severn Bridge tolls, 3 times the rate of inflation. Plans approved for Gwynedd Secure Unit despite bitter opposition. And the painful price of beating the joyriders. Good evening. Tolls on the Severn Bridge are to increase by 9% in the new year.
BBC Wales Today.
A second night away from home, village evacuated as a petrol leak leaves 65 people in temporary accommodation. The WDA reports a record year for jobs and investment, but predicts tougher times ahead. And dancing the years away for all those who couldn't make it to the palace. Good evening. Also tonight, we continue our special week of programmes from West Wales to mark the 75th anniversary of the BBC.
Milford Haven Port Authority has fined £4 million for its part in the Sea Empress disaster. The Prime Minister tells Wales Today that Alan Michael's Assembly leadership campaign isn't failing. And in at the deep end, a watery welcome for our most expensive footballer. Good evening. Legal history was made today when the Milford Haven Port Authority was fined a record £4 million for its part in the Sea Empress disaster. Hello, I'm Jamie Owen. Welcome to a new look, Wales Today. Double bookings and unsold seats. The Welsh Rugby Union suspends staff after the ticket fiasco overshadowing the World Cup. You are what you eat. Doctors warn of an epidemic of obesity among our children. And face to face with the Welsh animator bringing the dinosaurs back to life. Good evening, welcome to the programme. After just 4 days, the Rugby World Cup is in turmoil this evening. The Welsh Rugby Union has suspended its ticket manager. Hello, I'm Jamie Owen. You're watching Wales Today in widescreen. How the new Human Rights Act could stop your postcode lottery of healthcare. An investigation after a chambermaid is strip-searched at this top hotel. Coach Graham Henry faces up to his busiest ever month. And Michael Douglas at home with the in-laws as Catherine brings baby Dylan back to Swansea. Good evening, welcome to the programme, whoever you are and whatever you do. Hello, good evening and welcome to a brand new look Wales Today. Tonight's top stories. They demolished this building and the workers say the asbestos ruined their lives. Tonight, why a hard day's work cost them their health. The nursing home matron charged with killing a patient. The trial draws to a close. Sam Hammam under fire. Cardiff City fans see red, and that's the colour of their accounts too. Also on the programme tonight, the stage is set in Carnarvon for the opening night of the country's newest and exciting arts venue. And yours for £55,000. But are these homes really the solution to our affordable housing crisis? Thanks for joining us. You'll be able to get a good look at our new studio over the next half hour or so. But first, welcome to Wales Today. I'm Jamie Owen.
And I'm Claire Summers. Tonight's headlines.
Labour lose their grip in the valleys. Voters in the party's heartlands give them the worst kicking for generations.
A very, very difficult night, comparable with nights that I can remember from early in my political career when Labour was in power back in the late 60s and 70s, you know, when we were losing rock-solid Labour councils.
Also tonight, a double blow for Plaid. Their president loses out and Gwynedd goes, but they pick up seats elsewhere. Toasting success in the Vale of Glamorgan.
What's occurring?
Not Gavin and Stacey, but David and Barry. The Tories are back with significant gains. And a tense night for the Lib Dems, but they strengthen their hold in Cardiff and Swansea.
All of tonight's sport coming up. These people have got a plane to catch, but when you're singing along to Cardiff City's FA Cup song, don't worry, the pilot can wait.
Hello, good evening. A belting, the verdict tonight of the First Minister Rhodri Morgan on Labour's disastrous results in the council election. Welcome to Wales Today. Our headlines tonight. You need to think more about underlying causes of homelessness. The message tonight to local councils.
You have to think about the things which cause homelessness, things like substance misuse, mental health issues, people who've come out of care, ex-forces, ex-prisoners.
The woman accused of giving her mother a cocktail of alcohol and drugs, and her son accused of smothering his grandmother. She's UKIP's newest Assembly member, Mandy Jones, sworn in at Christmas, but the party says she won't be joining its Assembly group. What's going on? Should parents be banned from smacking their children? Welsh Government sets out its plans. And a long-awaited proposal to safeguard our seas. Is it any more than a drop in the ocean?
Hello, in tonight's sport.
Whoa! Ah, they're flying!
A dream FA Cup draw for Newport County, but just how will they stop Tottenham and their star striker, Harry Kane?
Got a machine gun and a couple of axes just waiting, so going to think if we can come up with something that a lot of top defenders haven't managed to do at the moment.
Good evening. More needs to be done to stop people becoming homeless.
Hello and welcome to Wales Today. Our main stories tonight. With knife crime on the rise, a consultant at Wales's biggest hospital says he's dealing with victims on a weekly basis, including an increase in so-called punishment stabbings.
All of us feel like we're seeing more knife crime, certainly. When I first came here, it didn't seem as prevalent. But now, maybe on a weekly basis, there's a significant wounding.
Climate change protesters bring parts of Cardiff to a standstill. The disruption could last for days.
We are deliberately causing disruption to try and get the government's attention to try and force some action.
Wrexham had such a problem with users of the drug spice, it set up a task force. Now there's concern after it's been disbanded. A Welsh Government minister says the inquest into the death of Carl Sargent was right to identify the need for politicians to have more support.
Methu chwarae video.
It's the last school in Wales without broadband, but they'll soon be connected to life in the fast lane. All already making an impression with his new fans. Aaron Ramsey says he wants to match the success of the legendary John Charles at Juventus. Good evening. Victims of knife crime in Wales are being dealt with on a weekly basis.
Welcome to Wales Today. I'm Lucy Owen. The headlines. Homes flooded yet again. Just 7 months after a flooded mine shaft left a village submerged, heavy rain causes more misery.
Carnage. A few houses, devastating. Water, taking people's furniture again for the third time.
3 people are still being questioned on suspicion of murder after the body of 5-year-old Logan Mwangi was found in a river in Bridgend. Also tonight, from the checkout to the ballot box, voting at the supermarket is being suggested to try to get more of us to take part in elections.
I'll admit that I didn't vote last time, but that's because I was at work all day, so I work really long shifts.
If it's everywhere, then more people probably would vote. Younger people, older people. Yeah, I think it's good. Good idea. Great idea.
Hello, in tonight's sport, an Olympic silver medal for cyclist Eleanor Barker. And Wyn Jones makes his Lions Test debut. He's among 6 Welsh players in the side, aiming to seal a series victory over South Africa.
Good evening. It's what homeowners in Skewen have been fearing ever since the village near Neath was submerged by floodwater from a nearby mine shaft.